we'll be having solving problems involving direct and inverse variation. So unlike quadratic equation and quadratic functions problems, di hamak na mas madali itong direct and inverse variation problems. Kasi for this one, meron ka ng steps or series of steps na paulit-ulit lang maging direct or inverse man yung type ng variation natin. So mas madali itong isolve kumpara dun sa nakaraang dalawang lesson natin. So right now, try naman natin kung paano naman kapag inverse variation yung mga problem natin. So recall muna natin, ano nga ba yung inverse variation? So coming from the word inverse, medyo baligtad siya. Hindi siya katulad ng direct. Kasi sa inverse, as one quantity increases, the other quantity decreases. Hindi ko alam kung naabot nyo na sa Araling Panlipunan yung lesson about law of supply. Yan, supply and demand. Pero law of supply is one example of inverse variation. Bakit? Supply, ibig sabihin, dumadami yung supply ng isang product, pero yung presyo niya bumababa. So isang magandang example dito na inverse variation din na nangyari sa atin nung mga nakaraang buwan is yung pagtaas ng presyo ng face shield. Kung naalala nyo, kung nababalitaan nyo, umabot siya ng mga 60 pesos, yung iba 100 plus or 120 pesos yung binabayaran para sa face shield. Bakit daw? Kasi onti lang daw. Onti lang daw yung dami ng face shield. Ngayon, na ang dami-dami ng face shield, magkano na lang yung presyo? 5 piso, 10 piso, 15 pesos, 20, nandun lang naglalaro. So, inverse variation yon. Habang dumadami yung face shield, bumababa yung presyo. Habang onti yung face shield, mataas yung presyo. So, inverse variation siya. And din yung mga binigay ko sa inyo na example, for example, the number of workers versus the number of days. So, kunyari, sa isang construction, syempre, mas maraming workers, mas onti yung oras na mag-work sila kasi, or mas onti yung number of days na magtatrabaho sila kasi, marami silang maghahati ng trabaho. O ikaw dito, ikaw dito, ikaw dito. Compared naman kapag onti yung workers, syempre, kunyari, isang buong building, dalawa lang yung tao. 'Di ba? Imagine sobrang tagal nun. Sobrang tagal ng araw or siguro nga aabutin pa ng taon 'yon bago matapos. So inverse variation 'yan. The same time, the speed and the time. Mas mataas yung speed natin, mas onti yung time bago ka maarating doon sa panaroonan mo. Pero mas mabagal yung speed ng sasakyan, mas matagal ka makakarating doon sa paroroonan mo. So that is an inverse variation. Magkabaligtad yung nangyayari. Now, for us to interpret inverse variation, ito yung lesson natin last Monday, or translating inverse variation situation. We have the pattern that says y varies inversely to x, or sometimes or sometimes rephrased as y is inversely proportional to x. Kapag ganyan related yung ating statement, we interpret this one as y is equal to k over x. Yan yung kaibahan niya sa direct variation dahil nga magkaiba silang type ng variation. Now, as we try to interpret the following statement, for example, the acceleration of a car varies inversely to its mass m. So, ito ang ngayon ay varies inversely na, hindi na siya direct. Inverse na. So, ganun pa rin naman. Identify mo yung dalawang quantity, but in this time, susundan mo na yung pattern na to. Papalitan mo pa rin yung y tsaka x pero gamit na yung variables a and m. And in this case, you will follow this pattern, y is equal to k over x. In this case, we can interpret this situation as a is equal to km. So iba lang siya kapag inverse na. The same thing as the rate r at which the person types a certain manuscript varies inversely as the time t spent in typing. So r yung unang quantity natin, then t yung isa. So r is equal to k over t. Next will be the base b of a triangle is inversely proportional to its height. So b and h are the variables. So b is equal to k over h. Tandaan, itong pattern na to sa paggawa ng equation of variation is ginagamit lang kapag ang given natin is inverse variation. So kahit ang ginamit dyan is inversely proportional, parehas lang din yung statement. Okay. So ito yung mas mahalaga na lesson natin about inverse variation for today. How do we solve an inverse variation problem? So, isang transition na lang yan. Bakit? Kasi kung babasahin nyo to ng buo, yung 6 na steps na yan, yan din po yung steps natin dun sa direct variation. Parehas lang sila ng step. Anong pagkakaiba ng dalawa? Ang pagkakaiba nila is how do you interpret an inverse variation? Ito yung pagkakaiba nila. Kasi kapag dating sa direct variation, etong y is equal to k over x will be y is equal to kx. So, yun yung pagkakaiba ng dalawa pagdating doon sa equation of variation natin. Yan. So, para mas maintindihan natin yung ano pa yung mas pagkakaiba nila, try tayo ng problem. First, 8 men can finish a job in 15 days. In how many days can 12 men finish the same job? So, imagine merong isang trabaho. Yan, imagine lang kayo kahit ano. So, basta yung 8 na yon kaya tapusin yung trabaho na yon in 15 days. Ang tanong dito, ilang days matatapos yon? Kung pares yung trabaho na yon, ilang days matatapos ng mas onte? Ay mas maraming, mas maraming men, which is 12 men. So, first step is for us to identify the quantities. First, ang pwede natin mabilang dyan, ilan lahat ng men. So, the number of men is the first quantity. Second quantity will be the number of days. So, in this case, we have 8 men for 15 days to finish a certain job. Ngayon, let's try to verify. Inverse variation ba to? So, I think related siya dun sa isang example ko nung Monday. Sabi ko, di ba, habang dumadami yung men o dumadami yung workers, umuunti yung dami ng araw na magtatrabaho sila for a certain job kasi mas marami silang naghahati. Kapag naman umuunti yung dami of workers or umuunti yung dami ng workers, tumataas yung dami ng araw na mag-work sila kasi onti lang sila maghahati-hati ng trabaho. In that case, this certain problem is an inverse variation. So we can interpret now. So kung titignan nyo, ganun din yung way ko ng pag-interpret. But in this case, gagamit na ako ng varies inversely kasi inverse variation na siya. So number of men, M, varies inversely to the number of days, D. So from here, translate naman natin siya into a mathematical equation. Ito yung parang kanina, yung pag-translate ng statement to a mathematical equation or equation of variation. So, number of men, M, so M to, is equal to inversely or varies inversely. So, inverse variation na to. Kung ang naisip mo na interpretation is M is equal to KD, mali yun. Kasi inverse na to, Y is equal to K over X na yung susundin mo. So, in this case, M is equal to K over D. Yan yung mainly na pagkakaiba nila ni direct variation. So, once again, for the following steps, pares na yan kung paano natin siya gagawin. First, you will use that mathematical equation. In this case, we have M is equal to K over D. Ito. So, we'll try to solve for the value of K using the first set of given. So, dito, we have 8 men. So, lagay natin dito, M is equal to 8. And then, number of days natin for the first one will be 15. So, lagay natin dito, D is equal to 15. Then, let's try to substitute. M will be equal to 8. And K will just be K kasi yan nga yung sinusolve natin. Then substitute natin, M nalagay na natin 8, then D will be equal to 15. So lagay natin dito 15. So continue lang natin dito, copying ko lang muna. 8 is equal to K over 15. How do we remove this 15 as the denominator? We'll try to use multiplication property of equality wherein we multiply 15 for both sides. Para pwede na natin itong i-divide. 15 divided by 15, 1 and 1. So the remaining variable on the right side will just be K. Then 15 din to. 15 times 8 din to. Multiply din natin siya sa 15. So 15 times 8 is 120. So ayan na yung magiging value natin ni K. So K is equal to 120. So as we continue, we can now form the equation of variation using this value of K which is 120. Pero this time, gagamitin ulit natin yung mathematical equation na M is equal to K over D. So, sulat lang natin, palitan natin yung K dyan ng 120. So, it will become M is equal to 120 over D. Saan galing yung 120? Ito, yung K natin. Next, solve for the missing quantity. So, for us to solve for the missing quantity, ano ba yung missing quantity dito? How many days can 12 men finish the same job? So 12 men. So meron na tayong given sa una, M is equal to 12. The missing value is the number of days. So para ma-solve yan, kopyahin muna natin yung formula natin or equation of variation. M is equal to, ito yan, M is equal to 120 over D. So as we continue, papalitan daw natin yung M ng 12. Substitute natin yung 12 dyan. Then copy 120 over D. In this case, di siya katulad nung direct variation na magkatabi yung variable tapos multiply ay magkatabi yung value kasi multiply mo na lang. Pagkakaiba dito nasa denominator si D. So dun sa video kahapon about inverse variation, may ganitong problem din. Ang pinagawa ko sa inyo, ang shortcut diyan kasi yung ibang gagawin, cross multiply mo pa siya dito, magiging 12D is equal to 120, then divide both sides by 12. So dalawang step pa. Bigyan ko kayo ng shortcut. Ang shortcut dyan will just be, you have to just interchange the position of D and 12. So, itong 12, itong D, ito munang D, ilagay mo dun sa pwesto ni 12. So, lagay mo dyan D. Then, copy mo muna yung 120. Tapos, itong 12, ilagay mo sa pwesto ni D. So, this is 12. So, that is a property of unequal ratio. So, shortcut din yan. Ang tawag ko dyan shortcut kasi mas mabilis. So you already can solve for the value of D, which is 120 over 12. In that case, our D is equal to 120 divided by 12. The answer is 10. So the answer is 10. So in this case, how many days can 12 men finish the job? That would just be 10 days. Kung papansinin mo, halos parehas lang din naman to yung ginagawa nating steps pagdating sa direct. Nagbabago lang talaga dito yung ating form ng mathematical equation. And just to have our last example, yan, we have 3 identical pipes can finish filling a tank of water in 20 hours. How long would it take for 15 pipes alone to fill the tank? So, ang sitwasyon na to, imaginein mo merong mga tatlong gripo na may nakakonect na mga hose. Yun yung parang idea natin ng identical pipes. Then, pinupuno nila ng tubig yung isang malaking tangke ng tubig. So, sabi dito, 3 identical pipes, kapag daw may tatlong nag-fill ng tubig dun sa tank natin, matatapos na lang punuin yung tubig ng 20 hours. Ang tanong dito, kapag mas madaming pipes, gaano katagal? So, yun lang yung idea ng problem na to. So, first, we identify the quantities. Una, yung 3 identical pipes. So, yung pipes natin or the number of pipes will be one type of quantity. Second will be the time. How long would it take to fill a tank of water? Yan. So, let's try to verify kung inverse variation ba siya. Habang dumadami ba yung pipes, tingin mo, umuunti ba yung oras bago nila mapuno yung tangke ng tubig? So kung mas onti ba yung pipes, mas matagal mapuno yung tangke ng tubig. So kung yun yung nasa isip mo, yung iniisip mo ay isang the inverse variation. Siyempre, dumadami yung pipe. Ibig sabihin, mas mabilis mapuno yung tubig sa tangke. So mas onti yung oras or mas mababa yung value ng time. So that is an example of an inverse variation. So as we continue, we can interpret that the number 5 pipes, the number of pipes varies inversely to the time, t. Yan. So from that, we can interpret that statement into a mathematical equation. P is equal to K over T. So kung naisip mo KT, pang direct yon, dapat tayo inverse, K over T. Yan. So parang Y is equal to K over X. Next, we can use this P is equal to K over T to solve for the value of the constant K. Gamitin ulit natin yung 3 identical pipes. So P on the first given is 3. Then T is equal to 20. Yan. So substitute natin. P is equal to 3. So palitan natin ng 3 yung P. Then copy muna natin yung K. Tapos palitan natin yung T ng 20. Then after that, let's continue here. Copyin ko lang muna. K over 20. Then we'll try to multiply both of them by the denominator of K, which is 20. So dito ko na lang lagay 20 divided by 20 will be 1. So this will just be K. Then, 3 times 20 is 60. Yan. So, K will be equal to 60. So, from there, gagamitin natin siya ulit para ma-form natin yung equation of variation P is equal to K over T. Papalitan natin yung K natin ng 60. Tapos, copyin lang natin yung P tsaka yung T. Then, from that, we will use this equation here. P is equal to 60 over T para ma-solve kung ano yung missing quantity. So, in this case, ang tanong dito is, how long would it take for 15 pipes to finish the tank or filling the tank? So, ang given natin dito sa question is 15 pipes. So, yan yung isa-substitute natin. 15 pipes. So, papalitan natin yung P ng 15, then copy 60 over T. So, once again, ganito ulit yung form. So, kapag ganyan, hindi ka agad magdi-divide. Pagpapalitin mo muna yung pwesto ni 15 tsaka ni T. So, dito mapupunta yung T, then sa ilalim mapupunta yung 15. So, our answer here will be T is equal to 60 divided by 15. The answer is 4. So, how many hours or how long would it take for 15 pipes to finish filling the tank? The answer is 4 hours. So, yan na ngayon kung paano tayo mag-solve ng problems involving inverse variation.